everybody. Welcome to the Training, Learning, Development Community. Happy Wednesday to everybody out there. Thanks for joining us. We have another member showcase today. And this morning, or today, we have Mike Peacock with us, who, if you have been tuning in to TLD casts in the past, you've probably seen him at least once or twice. And Mike always has great stuff to share with us. And now we get to just learn more about who Mike is, what's his whole deal. And I'm probably at the end of the broadcast, probably selfishly going to take over as a songwriter and ask him some songwriting questions too, because that's part of what he does. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Let's see, who do we got in-house this morning or today so far? Kim is here, Christiana, Quetzal, Jorge, let's see, Melissa, Brendan, Sion from Spain. Thanks for Valencia. Beautiful. Thanks for joining us today. So Mike works for Aristocrat and you live in Vegas, right?
Correct.
And you work with the wonderful Christiana and of course Rachel Eichen, who we've had on a couple times recently. You have like such an interesting team. I love it. It seems like, I don't know. I'm afraid to ask who else you have working there, because what other rock stars are actually reside for our work for Aristocrat?
They're all rock stars.
It's just you three. You're the trio.
That's right. We're all rock stars, the whole team.
But you're an instructional design specialist, right? But you also are a professional musician and an audio engineer. And what else do you do? You do some other things too.
I'm learning to juggle. That counts.
But so this is going to be my first question for you. Like, coming from that world, multimedia expertise, songwriting, all of that stuff. How did you discover instructional design?
I often ponder that, of how did I end up here? I've been a teacher for the last, 20 plus years. So that's how I kind of morphed my way into what I learned recently was instructional design. Didn't know what that was, in the audio world, in the, on stage world, education world, and then made my way over to instructional design.
So what were you teaching, like K through 12, and what kind of subject matter?
I started out doing private guitar lessons like we all do, because we're musicians, we go to college, and all we're qualified to do is either rock out or teach private lessons. That's it. I
work at Guitar Center.
Or work at Guitar Center. I think I had a telemarketing job because I could speak. So I was like, all right, well, I'll do that. So I got an education, and my first job was teaching middle school. And I loved it. For any middle school teachers out there, I absolutely loved middle school. Just the innocence of it, had a lot of fun. I taught general music, and when general music was a thing in schools, and eventually I taught chorus in middle school, and I had 130 people in the chorus. So it was interesting. And yes, we did have a school of rock. We did have in the middle school, we had a bunch of us teachers who got together every Friday, and we jammed out. And we go out and put on shows and stuff and rock out for the kids and do the talent shows. So, oh yeah. I wasn't the only awesome long-haired weirdo there, back when I had hair.
But then you found instructional design. What was that? Did you just how did that come across? I mean, how did you run into that?
From middle school, I went to high school. From high school, I taught college. And then I was at a college, teaching at a college out here in Las Vegas, and it was called the Art Institute. It was a for-profit school, and then they started closing down all the for-profit schools, so I was out of a job. So I was like, all right, what am I going to do? It's very hard. I wanted to get back into education, but it was it's not an easy task to get back into it. They don't make it easy. You'd think educated teacher, come on in. No, it's not like that. And so I stumbled upon, I had to think about what do I do? I'm a teacher, but what is a teacher? Designing the curriculum and delivering the curriculum. And so I stumbled upon instructional design. So I was reading about it and, okay, I can do this. And so my first job was working in San Diego for public utilities as an instructional designer and designing curriculum for their training.
Interesting.
And
Did you
just
go
kind of,
out and did you formally school yourself in instructional design? Did you go get like a certificate or go back to school or anything or?
I have a master's in instructional design, but I used it for education well before instructional design was actually a thing.
Oh,
And so I rewrote my resume. And again, anyone in education going into instructional design will go through that process of reworking their resume, their pitch, to tailor it more towards instructional design once you figure out what instructional design is. But I read up on it, online, joined some communities, learned what it is, learn the software and everything on my own, and then kind of went out, and I'm one of these people that says, yes, I can do that, and then figure it out, which is, got me in trouble, but I did it. Someone asked me once, can you play tuba? I was like, absolutely, I can play tuba. So I had to go learn how to play tuba,
Yeah. Well, cool. So then you were working public utilities in San Diego, and then what happened after that?
So I had that job. It was a very good job, a government job. People say, hey, you're all set. However, if anyone, no disrespect to anyone working in government, for me, as you can probably tell, it's a little too slow. My brain goes a little too fast. It's the creative, it's the rocker. It's, so I had to leave. And I knew someone that worked at Aristocrat. I saw an opening, interviewed, and was grateful enough to be chosen to work at Aristocrat.
Wow. So then now you've kind of are able to fall back on some of your multimedia expertise, right? Is that the case?
Yeah, using a lot of audio, a lot of video, doing a lot of training videos and corporate videos, dabbling now into, augmented reality, virtual reality, interactive PDFs, just trying to take my creativity and background and now, like, how can we spice things up a little?
Yeah, so just a tiny bit different from that government job.
It is just a tiny bit different. Yeah, I could tell you stories. I don't want
to. So projects that you're working on now, can you talk a little bit about that? Like what are some things that you're doing now that you can share?
Some of the stuff I'm doing now is kind of reworking some of the training. There's always been training, and then every couple of years you have to reevaluate it, or someone brings it up as this is an issue. A lot of new people go through the pipeline. So I have a lot of projects where I'm reworking them, but I'm kind of, all right, how can we make this more interactive? How can we make this more entertaining? And I think students now, or technicians, customers that we train, are really kind of want to get back into the classroom, so they're missing the hands-on. So I think as instructional designers now, I'm trying to incorporate some interactivity in there because they want to do. They just don't want to watch. They don't want to, okay, videos are great, but I'm at the point now I really want to do, because I don't have any do. And until we can get back in the classroom, we're kind of substituting or supplementing it with training or instructional design, more interactive.
Nice. So you're working with some augmented reality and interactive PDFs. Is there anything like what exactly are you doing with augmented reality? If you don't mind.
No, of course. My world's an open book. So a lot of it is right now I want to do. I've storyboarded. I just have to get back in the office to actually do it because I need live subjects. People is want to do a kind of a live scenario where you are at a EGM, take a picture of it with a Zapper app, and you have to remove, say, the monitor, which is the screen on a casino slot machine. And you would go, and your task is this, and you have, kind of choose your own adventure kind of thing. But you choose one, and I want to see what happens when you do it, even if it's wrong. And then I want to see what happens after that. Because it's usually you go, wrong choice, try again. I want to actually see that process. And then I want to see you get fired, or what's the next thing after that, and then go and try it again. Because I want to see the consequence. And then everything to how it all kind of loops together. So I need some live subjects for that. And, when example is, when replacing a monitor, there's a proper way of removing screws and bolts and stuff. But I kind of want to, what if I chose to use a crowbar? And, I'm going to simulate, boss. I'm going to simulate taking off a monitor with a crowbar. Sound effects are everything. And, what happens when you do that? And that kind of thing. Oh, wrong choice. And now go back and do it correctly. But I need some live subjects for that, and some characters. I don't want to do it in beyond. I want to do it with real people, looking at the camera, like you are doing that task. Like you see the hands, coming out and stuff. So it'll be interesting.
That's great. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun to produce.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And again, we're gonna do like different components of the slot machine. And Kim asked you a good question. What's a good point, Mike? Isn't Aristocrat technical service for the machines? How do we train them? A good question. What we do now is we do virtual trainings on Zoom, but we use multiple cameras. I've set up some really good cameras, so when they're in the cabinet, we can get a camera in there, and then we can zoom back and see what the tech is doing, and then we can zoom over here to another camera. So I do about 2 or 3 cameras switching between them. So again, you don't try not to get that in and out kind of Blair Witch effect kind of thing. So we try to do a lot of those, and working on creating some simulations within like Storyline or Captivate, where you're picking the right tool, for the right screw, for the right component, to give them as much hands-on as we can. And in the classes, we actually ask them, okay, what would you do next? Where are the screws? And we have them take control of the mouse and move them around, and what tool would you pick? And we try to make it as interactive as we can, in the world we are in.
Well, yeah, Kim just followed up with showing or doing.
So mostly showing. It's a little bit of both. As much doing as you can without actually being there. I think we've tried to think of every possible way we can have someone do it without actually being there touching the component. And it's a challenge. And everyone I know is running into it. So we're trying. Yes, I would love to do VR, but yeah, everyone gets Oculus.
Well, I know that with augmented reality, I think probably the most interesting sort of instances I've seen of it, or how it's been sort of implemented, would be like with, say, engines,
right?
And being able to use like a phone, and you're like, okay, so looking at this engine, and you can actually like tap on certain areas to say, okay, this is the carburetor, this is, the cylinder head or whatever. And I thought that was very cool. And also I saw that for surgery too, which is absolutely fascinating to sort of see that going. Now, how about with interactive PDFs? Can that be fun at all?
Oh, I have a blast with those. Yeah, I do. I've spoken at ATD on that. The conference on interactive, helped a few people out, other corporations and stuff with that. It's awesome. I love it. I think it just adds another level of interactivity into the guidebook or into a tip sheet, where you can add in game scenarios, videos, quizzes, anything that you want to add in as an activity, you can put into the manual itself. So I've been having a lot of fun with those.
Like, give me an example. I'm sort of, I know about using PDF, like, of course, like filling out forms and stuff in PDFs. But when you're talking about interactive PDFs, what exactly are you saying?
In design, you can create, and I create a lot of my activities or manuals and such in InDesign. There's a whole interactive PDF, I guess, template that you can use, and you can move things around, like move things around. You can hover over things and things appear. A lot of clicking, a lot of links. You could take a quiz right there in it, and then send it like a form right to you. Again, anything you can link to any scenarios or articulate or anything outside, of course.
That sounds very cool.
I want to design the book. Or anything for that matter. We spend a lot of time designing it. I actually want it to be used after the fact.
Nice.
Used as a reference, and again, help the instructor out as well.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, so what's your favorite part of your job now? It sounds like you've got a lot of things going on that are really, really cool. What do you like about doing the work that you do, of being an instructional designer?
I love the people. I love the company. I love the work. It's never the same project twice, and you get I have the freedom to be more creative, to think outside the box. I'm encouraged to do that, and I think I hope the training that I have created reflects that and is effective for that. So
Do you think that's a unique situation?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm kind of interested in anybody in chat. If you want to, if you want to throw in there, like, because having a job where, you know, every day is a little bit different, that actually is ideal for a lot of folks. But is that ideal for everybody, or is that something that you're looking for? I would love to hear about, you know, whether or not, you know, because I know that I used to work with some instructional designers. I wasn't on the on the training side, but I was on the marketing side. But they were just, you know, pumping out PDFs every day of just specs for pieces of electronic equipment, and I could tell that it was not a real fun situation for them, because it was like Tesla would send in, like, you know, the new requirements for a particular piece of equipment, and they just have to update the PDFs and send it out to the sales team. So I don't know, like, I'm just wondering whether or not that is, you're just really lucky to have.
I am really, really lucky. I think of, I mean, yes, there is the updates of PDFs and that kind of stuff. But just, you know, I'm blessed to be on some of these projects where they are so deep and with knowledge and content and, you know, things the business needs. And again, I think I have, with that audio and video background, you know,
Right.
I get to play with toys. So
Yeah.
that's just
Wow.
fun.
You are you're lucky in that way. So is there
Yes.
anything that, like, you know, now that you would wish you had known when you started out in your career in instructional design?
This was probably my first corporate gig, because again, always been in education. I wish someone told me there were so many meetings. Sorry, boss. I didn't know that people meet a lot on things, like all the time, and talk about it, and nothing gets done. I don't. Yeah. So I wish someone told me that. How to work. Crack Lewis up. Yes.
Yeah.
How to work with SMEs was probably another one. Because again, in my in the audio world or education world, you know, you work with a certain amount of people, or if you do reach out to someone, they're happy to hear from you and would like to be involved. In the corporate world, when you reach out to subject matter experts, they don't have that same enthusiasm of helping you out. They're happy to be there. They're happy to help. But again, they have their life and their projects that they're working on. So it's a slower, you know, project, completely understandable. But, you know, just how to speak with them and you know, how to, you know, when I first started, we had a coworker and she always baked people cookies. Now I know why.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. It's that
Yeah.
that food piece.
There
So
you
is
go.
that
See? Thank you, Kim.
yeah. Wow, that was fortuitous. Now, so I mean, is that something you do daily? You just work with SMEs, or?
They're a big part. A lot of the projects are kind of directed by them. And there's always an issue. There's always, you know, make this, we need them to do X or not do X. And so it's always a lot of back and forth, making sure we got the terminology right. Did we understand the meeting, and this is what you're looking for? So there's a lot of back and forth. And again, the more people that are in the pot, there's more feedback. And so it's trying to, all right, who's right? Who's, you know, who should we listen to? All that good stuff. So it can be a challenge. But I mean, the support I get on a lot of projects is amazing. So I can't, my SMEs we got a nice bond now. You know, it took 3 years, but you know, there's always that friendship bond. So the SME bond is growing.
Yeah. Nice. So all this multimedia expertise, you've got your hands in a lot of different types of things, different types of technologies. Is there anything right now that something that you don't have that you wish you did have along those lines?
I need to get into After Effects better. I really need to get into that. I think that would be really cool. Just something to add into a training module that hasn't been seen yet. I'm always a big on hasn't been seen yet, or hasn't done yet, or hasn't done it like that yet. So how my brain works. Is
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think After Effects would be one.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't you hate that? I know for me, it's like, oh man, I wish I knew how to do this better. I wish
Yeah,
I wish I was better at Illustrator. I wish I was
yeah,
better at, like just all those different, because you don't need it like for your day to day, but
right,
it
right.
sure would be nice to, to know After Effects and not have, like for me, it's like, oh, I need this project done. I guess I'll go to Upwork or Fiverr and see if I can convince somebody to, or pay somebody to like do this
Yeah,
work for me. But I wish I could just do it. Yeah,
yeah.
I hear you. I hear you.
I wish.
So, how about a training project that you've done at Aristocrat that you're particularly proud of? Is there something that you can share with us, that something you did that you really, really like, that you'd kind of like to brag about?
I did a simulation for a software. It's called AMC, and all of them. Thank you, boss. I really liked that, and the fact that it was as lifelike as I could get it to actually go through, and it wouldn't let you through if you did something, you put in the wrong information. It was all done in Captivate, and it was just a really nice way of training the technicians on this piece of software, what they need to do in the field before they got there. So it was a real, they got a lot out of it. And I heard that they do use it in class and such, and it is helpful. So anytime you can hear that anything that you create has been helpful, that's always a good thing. So I particularly like that one.
Did you say you built it in Captivate?
I did.
Wow.
I did.
Nice.
I go between Captivate and Storyline. Each one has its pros and cons. So it all depends on what I'm doing, or which, what the project is.
Any chance that you could quickly describe what the pros and cons of each are?
Let's see. One of the things with Captivate, at least the newer one, is the 360 pictures. You cannot do that in Articulate, as I currently am aware of, unless you go and change the pictures. But you can put in 360 hotspots, and then kind of like you're walking through a building or into a situation and stuff. So I think that's kind of neat. I actually figured out how to do that. I have a 360 camera. I love my 360 camera. It actually has an invisible selfie stick, which I've never heard of. So, if you use a 360 camera, you're holding the selfie stick, like, who's that holding the selfie stick? Because you can see you holding it. But this is an invisible selfie stick, so it disappears. It's like the coolest thing. So I use this other software and 360 pictures of our showroom, and I put each of the games that are on there. I put a link to what that game looks like, so you could actually walk through our showroom and actually see all the different games, and actually see what the bonus levels are and all that stuff.
That's really cool.
Another thing with Captivate is it was easier to restrict the text box. So if I want them to put in TLDC all caps, and they put in TLDC lower caps, it wouldn't let them go through. Articulate is a harder time doing that. It's a lot easier in Captivate to do that.
What do you find yourself using more?
I kind of grew up on Captivate, so I kind of like it. But Articulate is so easy. It is just so easy. I just did a Monopoly board in Articulate. So you roll the dice, you go around the board, and everything. It's just basically a quiz, but you're actually playing a Monopoly game, going around, rolling the dice, the pieces move, you answer the questions. So that was kind of fun. It's a lot easier to build in Articulate or Storyline than Captivate.
Wow, Mike, you do have a lot of fun doing your work.
I do, don't I? It's my motto. Do what you like what you do. I stole from Life is Good, but hey, life is good. So.
There you go. So let me now I want to ask you a little bit about being like a professional musician, and ultimately sort of like a performer, and then also moving into this career as an instructional designer. Do you think that helped at all, having a performance background?
Yes, I think it's not being afraid to talk to people, not being afraid to take risks, being yourself a little crazy. I think helps. I think all musicians are crazy. Louis, you agree? Yes, in a good way. We're all crazy in a good way. I think it does. You have you've seen a lot of stuff and done a lot of stuff that Others have not. They've gone more maybe the out of college way or training way into instructional design, where we've come from the music does matter. Balance, just think of an album or playing a show. Appearance is everything, but what does it sound like? What's the color scheme? We just, every show is planned just like an instructional design training is. And I think we've come at it a little bit more creative than the technical side.
Yeah, no, that's great, because if there's one thing that I've noticed, like with a lot of these showcases, is that we have a lot of people in this community that do have backgrounds in performance. I mean, Kim is in the audience right now. It really surprises me how many folks like might have a theater background, and I think it's very cool. It actually helps me feel like I'm in the right place.
Me too.
Yeah.
I came into this like, oh wait, I like this. This is being an instructional designer. The community is awesome, and then finding people like yourself and others that are been in the performance aspect of it or the education aspect of it. It's just so wonderful.
So for your career, who or what keeps you inspired?
Good question. Currently in the instructional design world, just all the toys, all the ways you can create, and the creativity that's coming out. A lot of there's a flood of people going into instructional design, which means there's going to be a flood of ideas and new ways of doing things. So I think that, I have a long list of just things I need to play with. And I think that's what keeps me motivated, is to find just that new way of delivering something to reach the learner.
Love it. That's cool. Very, very cool. So if you weren't an L&D professional, what would you be? I think we probably know the answer to
that. Me? I don't know. Anything audio. I don't know. I thought about this. Maybe a magician.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still on stage. I'm still got the spotlight. And I'm just wowing people with magic instead of a Martin. I don't know.
That's great. Yeah, Maria's like, yes, a magician. That's awesome. And if there's one thing that people should know about you, what is it?
I collect baseball cards.
Oh, what?
There you go. Yeah, I have a nice collection of baseball cards. I don't watch baseball per se. I did in my youth. Played baseball for many years. But I do like collecting baseball cards. I don't know why. I like the card. There's something about it, and especially the older ones. So they're all, my pride and joy.
That is interesting. How many do you have?
I have a lot. I kind of weaned them out a few years back. Just keeping the good ones. I think my pride and joy right now is a rookie Ozzie Smith card, and I have 3 of them. Having them graded, and if it's a 10, it should go pretty well. I think the last grade of 10, which is perfect, auctioned for $36,000 recently. Word. So I'm hoping it's a 10. I'll even take a 9, which is a couple grand. So
now we know.
Now we know. Exactly. I like baseball. I don't know. I just something about him. Something about the that one shot and all this. Just the way I don't know. I think I even have some old gum somewhere.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap things up, and I'm gonna selfishly kind of take over with a couple of questions. So, Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Beatles.
Okay. So you're a Beatles guy. Nice. And let's see. So, how about this one? Favorite song of the last 10 years?
I got nothing. You asked me, sir. I don't know. I don't listen to. I don't know. Night Ranger put out a new album lately. So I'll go with them.
You're gonna go with the Night Ranger song?
I'm gonna go with the Night Ranger song from 2014. I don't know. I don't listen to. I honestly don't listen to music. I listen to a lot of oldies. I'll put on Zeppelin, or when I'm working, I put on Hendrix. So it just inspires, or BB King or something. But great. Yeah, I couldn't name you anything. $1 million right there. Name me an artist of I don't know.
I'm gonna throw a song at you. Just I want you to listen. I want you to listen to this one because I thought about this question this morning, and I'm gonna ask him this because this is actually a tough one. Put someone on the spot, but listen to the song by Jason Isbell.
Okay.
And it's called "When We Were Vampires." So he's like finger picking an acoustic guitar, singing kind of a ballad. The song won a Grammy. I think it was in 2018.
Okay.
And when I first heard it, I could not stop listening to that song. It just kept on, and actually brought tears to my eyes when I first heard it. So here's an Americana sort of country guy singing this song called "When We Were Vampires." So it's
When We Were Vampires. Okay. I do listen to a lot of indie music because I ran a radio station and a radio show. And so I do listen to a lot of independent music that's not on the charts or anything. So I keep up with it. But I will listen to that. I will definitely Google that after this. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. And I just want to hear, what's the best song you ever wrote?
It's a song I wrote is called One Family Strong. And it was inspired by 9/11 a million years ago. And it's Google it. It's on YouTube. I went down to Nashville to re-record it, rewrite it, modernize it a little bit. It's out there. It's on the charts. It's won me some awards and stuff. But it's just, it's a good, wholesome Americana song. Love America. Our troops are in there and stuff. So it's a really, really good. I did write a Christmas song. Thank you, Rachel.
And was it actually best selling?
It's on it's charted. It's been on a couple albums and stuff. I still get royalty checks. So, I mean, hey, life is good. So they're enough to buy a coffee, but it's still, money. Free coffee's good. So
there you go. I get that I have a record out there, and every once in a while I'll check to see if it's made any money. And it's like, I got $9. So
I know. Hey,
I get 2 cups of coffee.
That's right. A coffee and a donut.
All right, Mike, thanks so much for sharing your morning with us. I'm really glad I got to learn more about you and your baseball cards and all the multimedia that you do. I'm looking forward to meeting you face to face one of these days.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go ahead and paste your LinkedIn profile in the chat, and so you guys connect with Mike. As you can see, multimedia expert. He's got all kinds of stuff going on with Captivate and Articulate storyline, and absolutely has that kind of creative mindset. I'm glad that you are someone in the community that we can turn to. And with that, everybody, we're going to wrap things up. Tomorrow, who do I have? Oh, I have Mac McDonald tomorrow from the UK. You guys try to tune into that one. He has this thing called the moccasin theory, where he really talks about emotional intelligence and a lot of different things that really have to do with empathy. And I feel like it'll be a really nice sort of change of pace in some of the conversations we've been having. So check that one out for tomorrow. And don't forget, sign up for AIDC 21, the Accessibility and Inclusive Design Conference, which is happening next month. That's a free conference. And I'll paste the link for that one in chat. And with that, wrap it up. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks again, Mike.
Hey, thank you.